So hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here today with you to speak about an exciting topic for me, industrial metaverse. And I will try to demystify and ask you to join force with us to realize it. Because it's still a vision, but let me start first. I'm coming from the company Siemens. If I ask you what Siemens is doing, I'm pretty sure most of you will answer home appliances. That's not correct. We're not doing that. Siemens is a tech company, and we develop technology that transforms the everyday of you. And how we are doing that? It's by combining the real and the digital world. We enable our customers to master the digital transformation and also the sustainability challenges we have today. And here you can see some of the verticals we are present, and now I want to show you some examples. So you are commuting in cars that are designed with our software. These cars are manufactured in factories, running with our automation, and some electric cars are charged using our own electric car chargers or smart grids. But it's not only the cars there, the buildings that we are living and working in. We are making that efficient, we promote the health, and we try also to bring closer the real and the digital world. And finally, the trains. You book tickets using our software, traveling with trains made by us, by Siemens, and also running these trains on the Siemens infrastructure. So you can see, you can meet Siemens and our products in your daily life almost everywhere around you. At the beginning, you saw a very long title for me, Program Manager, Siemens Company Core Technology, Simulation, Digital Twin, and User Experience. I didn't have that all that long, couldn't fit there. Why is that? There is a reason, just very brief. Siemens has identified 11 technologies that are very important for the success of our customers, and that's also important for us as a company, and we invest strategically in the pre-development today for the future. So you can see here, last year we invested 10% almost of our R&D budget, 500 million in these technologies. And you will see where I'm showing that also what this has to do with the industrial metaverse. So let's come to the industrial metaverse. So everyone speaks about the metaverse since October 2021, when Zuckerberg came out and said, now we change our name from Facebook to Meta to indicate the new strategy, the metaverse. And from this day, we have seen several new areas emerging. Here I have listed 3 out of 4. There's a 4th one, the gaming, which is the most mature one, the biggest one, and we cannot compete that. It's already a mature phase, as I said before. The new areas are the consumer one, which is more or less what Meta is trying to address. That's more about avatar-centric virtual worlds with the goal to enable people to socialize, have experience, attend concerts virtually, socialize, having virtual goods, try virtual goods, and so on. Then we have the enterprise, where it's about to increase the productivity in our daily tasks at the office. And finally, the industrial, what I want to speak about you today, it's about solving real-world problems. And what does it mean? It's how we can speed up innovation, how we can bring products faster to the market, increase productivity, save resources, drive sustainability. You may ask, okay, what's happened in the last 2 years? You said 2021. Here I have bring some announcements from the consumer metaverse. Disney, the biggest entertainment company of the world, announced a few months after setting up a metaverse department that they're closing it. Then Meta doesn't speak about metaverse, I mean, not so much at least. And when advertising companies visiting them, they speak about their large language models, Llama, not anymore about metaverse. And finally, Microsoft, who wanted to address also the socializing metaverse, this area, and they have acquired Altspace VR a couple of years ago. They closed it also. And that's just a sample of the similar articles. And this ended up here that Business Insider published last May, the metaverse is dead. But what happened? 1 month later came Apple with Apple Vision Pro, and suddenly metaverse was again resurrected, but now it's spatial computing. What does it show? That the consumer metaverse doesn't have a clear added value. What does it bring me as a user? So they have these up and downs because it's not clear for the users what's going to win with that. And that's why the adoption of the consumer metaverse is very slow. But what about the industrial metaverse? Here I brought you some facts from the analysts. The industrial metaverse is the fastest growing market from these areas I showed you before. And here you can see an estimation from the AB Research saying that it is going to reach the $100 billion by the end of our decade here. And the reason is that it has tangible ROIs. As I said before, the customers can see the added value by having faster products to the market, by having better productivity, higher productivity, by having energy savings, and so on. But what is industrial metaverse? What I'm talking about here? Let me start what's not. It's not about cryptocurrencies. It's not about gaming or similar experiences. It's not about VR. I know that you are impressed, or XR. We believe that XR is supportive for the industrial metaverse, but it's not a must, not necessary. Sorry. And finally, it's not about virtual land like Decentraland here. And what's the industrial metaverse for us as a company? Here we try to make a definition here. It's a virtual world where you experience and interact with a digital twin of a real-world asset. How you are doing that? By visualizing the digital twin in its context, in photorealistic environments, gaining intuitive insights, as you can see in the first picture. Second one, by meeting multiple experts, real-time, collaborate, making changes, and see the effect of the changes immediately. The third one is by continuously and physics-based evaluating, simulating the behavior of the digital twin. And finally, that's also the biggest differentiation here from the, let's say, consumer metaverse. It's about the real-world relevance. So we have a closed loop with the real world by monitoring real-world assets and synchronize the whole time the real asset with its digital twin. What's the industrial metaverse? Similar to the consumer metaverse, they have the same back-end technologies, which the convergence of them will allow us the realization. Still a vision industrial metaverse, if I didn't say that. Today, multiple of these technologies are already in place, but they're not together combined. And you can see here, I said before, digital twin is very important. AI for automation of the process, driving democratization, connectivity at edge, user experience, because now the new tools in the industrial metaverse will be user-centric and not so much task-oriented that's doing today, and finally, networks and IoT. Industrial metaverse, it's not a revolution for the industry, it's more an evolution of what we are doing today. Everything started back to the late 60s, beginning of 70s, with NASA having the first representation of the computer, moving now over the years, having more complex systems, some first physics, reaching approximately 2000, where we have the physics, the product lifecycle management, 2015, the digital twin era, and last year we entered the industrial metaverse time, where its goal is to bring democratization of engineering tools, so how we can make all these complex worlds more accessible for broader base in the industry field, which allows collaboration also and immersion. And this can be achieved with also almost real-time predictions for the simulation, because it makes no sense to be collaboratively in a space with other multiple persons and wait hours like today in typical industrial tools. What's the characteristics of the industrial metaverse? 6 of them: interoperability. So industrial metaverse will allow us to bring together data from different sources in order to gain insights. Persistent virtual worlds, what does it mean? It means that when an application is running, and you close it, it still could be evolving and enriched with data, and when you start the application again, you start from the point that's now and not the one that closed before. It has a relevance with the real world, as I said before, allows unlimited interactions between the different users and the components here. It will bring also the decentralized internet in the companies, so each company, the next evolution of the intranet will be virtual worlds which connect to each other. And finally, a new functional economy will arise where the users are going to trade digital assets, models, CAD files, digital twins, and so on. And for us, industrial metaverse also is a key enabler for sustainability. And we have identified several cases along the product lifecycle. For example, if you go to the design engineering phase and we just replace the physical testing with virtual tests, and by also supporting the first prototypes with additive manufacturing, we can save up to 50% material from today's methods. And also virtual testing and validation there, we can save very costly experiments by generating synthetic data from the photorealistic environments, train robots, autonomous systems, and allow them to be productive faster. Then we go to the production and operation phase, By monitoring and optimizing the processes continuously and comparing with the digital twin, this will allow us to save up to 40% energy and decrease the productivity by 20%. And these numbers that I'm presenting you today are facts that we have already implemented in our company and based in integrations in our factories. And finally, we have the training, which perhaps the more mature today, where the employees can, we can allow employees to train in very costly scenarios, or they can avoid trips and travels. As I said before, today Metaverse doesn't exist, but the first applications towards that direction can be already met and applied, and we're starting applying within our company. We say that we are customer zero for our products. On the left side, you can see Nianjing. Nianjing is our first digital native factory in China. First time right, we designed everything and simulate everything in advance before building it. That's why we say first time right. So from the beginning, everything is going to work. It's correct. Then in Berlin, we're having a completely new district, Siemensstadt. It used to be a Siemens location there, and now it's redesigned the district. It will be mixed use from Siemens, open also for the city, and some institutes there for research. And there, together with partners, we're trying to develop a CO2 neutral district. And finally, the electronics factory in Erlangen, or as we know that better in the company, Gerätewerk Erlangen, where we announced 2 months ago that's going to be our blueprint for the industrial metaverse. We're going to invest 500 million in this location to build the first factory in the metaverse and also extend it, the production facility we have there. And now we may ask, okay, that sounds good, but what's the status? I brought you an example, what we are doing today. That's together with partners and the startup company Freyr. Freyr, it's a battery manufacturing from Norway, and their goal is to have gigafactories and be CO2 neutral. And we joined forces to build the first metaverse experience for them. The factory, the gigafactory that they're having now, it's still in construction phase. So what you're going to see here are real data, simulate data, and synthetic data that we have generated for this first prototype we did together with the startup. And as I said before, we didn't do alone, but with several partners. AWS, that's our cloud partner. NVIDIA for the photorealistic environment. Microsoft for generative AI, and also Teams integration in one of our tools. TeamViewer for the remote support with augmented reality, and so on. And what you have here, is you have a single source of truth. What does it mean? We have one application. Does it run the video? Yes. So the operator now enters this application. This application runs on the cloud, as I said before, so you can reach it with your phone, with your computer, with your tablet, so you can have access to the information anytime you need. You just register there, you select which factory you want to visit, and then all the data, the associated data, are being retrieved. In this case, we're going to Norway, to the first factory. You will see here comes the first visualization. You may say, visualization, nice, we have seen that before. What's new here? The new part here is that this factory is not empty, like the typical architectural designs. This one has content inside, so we have the different processes, and together now we will visit some of them. And the goal here is to simulate today before building it, to identify potential bottlenecks, interactions, and resolve potential issues at the very early stage phase. And we start with the first example here, that's a mixer. Mixing process is very important for the battery production because it's critical for their aging and their quality. And here, as I said before, we have all the associated data for each component. On the upper right side, you can see that we have the two parts, the real object on the left side. On the right side is the digital twin. And here we have dashboards with all the associated information, backlogs, quality controls, availability checks, and so on. And the operator now doesn't have to ask 20 different experts to find this data, but he can access them alone anytime he wants. So far today, these data are retrieved from expert tools, and these are only can be used from experts because you need training for each of their tools. And here you can see different scenarios like mixing, machine learning, quality controls, and so on. So, and also it gives us also the possibility to have superpowers and see inside, so we can visualize 3D simulations here in a very intuitive way, so anyone can understand how this slurry is formed. This slurry is very important, as I said before, for the mixing process. Or if I jump to the next one, You can, here, you can train with synthetic data a robotic arm. Here we are learning this robot to grab stuff from the shelf there. Or if you move to the next one, if you are looking for spare parts, here it's another robotic arm. You can easily go to this robotic arm and retrieve its design files, and you can see the sizes, the dimensions of the different components, who's the supplier, and order very fast spare parts. So you're saving time and doing faster decisions here. And the last station is here, the production line itself. So here we have simulated how humans and machines, robots in this case, work together. Is there bottlenecks? Do the people can do ergonomically their task? We have here a tool called Process Simulate, and it has a function called Jack and Jill. That's our avatars for humans. And we here test ergonomically their activities. And you can see here, now Jack and Jill take for the bins different stuff, try to do some screws, put some screws. And also, very easily, you can run several scenarios. Not everyone is perfectly fit like Jack. So there are bigger people like me in the factories. And the operator can also very easily execute some simulations. So in this one, you can see Jack now is a little bit bigger, and you can see what will be the impact at his task. So you can easily identify some bottlenecks, as I said before, and you see there's a collision now. So he cannot perform that task that good because the table hits the... Yeah, that's possible. It's about inclusion in the factory. And by identifying such problems very early, you can take countermeasures or ask your restaurant not to serve or to serve only low-carb food there. But we're not there. Why we haven't realized industrial metaverse yet? There are three reasons. First of all, lack of connectivity. We don't have the internet speed that we need for the transfer of this data, massive data, real time. We will need 6G there, or even better 5G, the one that was initially promised. Lack of interoperability, that's the biggest problem in the industry. We have too many standards. The standards exist for a reason, but these standards don't communicate to each other. In the example you saw before with the Freyr, we have data from 35 different sources, if I'm not mistaken, and it took us 40 days, 40 people working on this project to connect the data to each other. And finally, lack of skills. So here you can see several scenarios. Artists. Industries like Siemens don't have artists to design these nice environments. Or machine learning and AI experts. Here we need more because it will help us with tools like generative AI to democratize, simplify, create digital companions. And that's something that we have to work the next years. And with that, I'm at the end of my presentation. I want to say that industrial metaverse is here, it's going to stay, but it's up to us to open up, collaborate, join forces in order to realize that. Thank you very much for your attention.